Born among the high crags where the stone Goliaths dwell, Skara was never satisfied with silence and stone alone. From the time she could lift a war drum, she heard something deeper, a rhythm pulsing beneath the earth like the heartbeat of the World Tree itself. She carved an axe-shaped lute from the mountain timber, its strings vibrating with a sound that seemed to climb skyward and root downward all at once. When she raged in battle, her music roared with her, chords cracking like thunder, bass lines growling like avalanches. She believed the World Tree, Yggdrasil, answered back, lending her strength as its branches swayed with her rhythm. But the mountains could not contain her fire. She left her clan to carry the music further, seeking stages, taverns, and battlefields where her songs could shake souls and splinter shields. For Skara, adventuring is a tour, every dungeon a venue, every clash a concert, and every swing of her weapon a crashing power chord. This is the World Tree Barbarian Deep Build, Skara, the World Cleave Barbarian. A quick heads up, inside my school community, Dungeons & Dragons lovers, I'm running a one-shot called Lair of the Goblin Queen. This is going to pit mid-level adventurers against the lowly goblin to show off that when they have the numbers and the home field advantage, they can be a nasty enemy. So hurry and click the link in the description down below because there's only 4 seats for this one-shot left. Maybe you don't get there in time, or maybe goblins aren't your jam. I still recommend you go check out the school community because that's where I'm going to be pulling people to play test my own ideas and where I'm going to encourage you to go find people to play test your ideas. It's totally free and I hope to see you there. Back to the build. So the quick and dirty story for this character is that I want her to be a rocker chick, and so she has to be a stone Goliath. Get it? Stone, rocker. Anyways. But in all seriousness, the stone Goliath actually is incredible with barbarians. Because the stone Goliath gives damage reduction, you're looking at an average of tanking about 6.5 damage per usage of that feature. With barbarians who have the rage going on, that 6.5 becomes 13 damage reduction. So it's really, really incredible as far as stacking your rage with the damage reduction. Gets really insane really fast. With our background, you would probably be best off going with farmer, but I went with entertainer because I really loved the idea of this being a rocker chick. Now this was inspired by my buddy's barbarian, who is a rocker who has a guitar attached to his great axe, and when he swings it around you can hear notes being played because there's holes on the axe. I just really liked that connection to music, and specifically with the World Tree Barbarian, how music helps us connect to the World Tree, and that's going to be throughout this whole build, that connection between nature, music, and this character. It also kind of plays into the fact that we are more of a support. The entertainer background gives you a supporting feat as opposed to a boosting you feat, and this build has several supporting features in it as well. I wouldn't call it a support barbarian, but it's a barbarian with support features here and there. As with all of my deep builds, I'm going standard array. It's the most restrictive of the way you take stats, so that way you guys have more flexibility than I do, which is something important to me. That means anyone can do this build. So strength is going to be 15 plus 2 for a total of 17. Dexterity is going to be 13 plus 1, total of 14. Constitution, 14. As for our next 3 stats, with intelligence, I went with our dump stat at 8. Wisdom at 10, that's non-optimal. If you want optimal, go 12. But I wanted 12 in charisma to represent us being a performer, that we, in our downtime, can go rock out. Now let's jump into the level by level breakdown. First off, we're going to grab athletics and perception. Athletics, I always talk about, is a skill that is a catch-all. You can solve so many problems just by being the strongest person in the room. We have Rage for tankiness and extra damage. We have Unarmored Defense, which rewards us for going into Constitution and Dex. So for us, it's going to be low enough that we probably just take medium armor over this. The first weapon mastery I'm grabbing is Cleave for the Great Axe. Cleave is better for barbarians than any other class. Why? Well, when we're looking at the other heavy weapons, you're looking at Topple, you're looking at maybe Vex, which both of those are redundant because we have reckless attack. We already get advantage. We don't need our weapon to give us advantage, so that doesn't help us at all. Then we have Graze, which does damage when we miss, but because we have advantage, we miss less often, which means that the most value we're gonna get is out of Cleave, which Cleave doesn't get the bonus damage from our stats, but it does get the bonus damage from rage, so even on the upside, it's better. Really good game design to make the Great Axe special for Barbarian. And then the next question you might have is, why not go Halberd? That also has Cleave and it has extra reach, so it would be easier to set up Cleave attacks, right? Well, there's two reasons. One is it just does less damage, and two is actually we want the low range. Let me explain why. This is per turn that you can get a Cleave attack, which means on an opportunity attack, if they're in the right position, you can also get a Cleave opportunity attack, which is something we really want to do. Now, the easiest way to do that is if they're both right by you and they can't back away without both of them getting hit, which you can only do if your reach is 5 feet, because opportunity attacks happen when you leave the reach. So by having more reach, they have more room to maneuver without getting opportunity attacks. Something I don't think many people think about. The second weapon mastery I want is Warhammer Push. The reason for that is that when we get extra attack, we can use our first attack with the Warhammer, push them. At the end of that attack, stow. At the beginning of our second attack, draw the Great Axe and attack to get a Cleave. So it just extends the reach in which we can get Cleave attacks. And that's gonna be less important right now because we don't have extra attack, but we want it ready to go when that time comes. We'll just use our Great Axe in the meantime and take Cleaves as they come. Level 2, we get Danger Sense. It gives us advantage on dexterity saves. Fantastic. We also get Reckless Attack, which I believe is the single best overall Barbarian feature that there is, even over Rage. It's just so defining. And we're gonna be using it all the stinking time. We're not really tanking with our AC anyways. We're gonna be relying on HP, temp HP, damage reduction via being a Stone Goliath, that kind of stuff. All right, level 3, and we are now diverging from all other barbarians and we're becoming Path of the World Tree Barbarian. We also get an extra skill here. I went ahead and took Intimidation to have a little bit more charisma stuff to do, and it's really cool that we can use Rage to boost certain skills, and Intimidation is one of those skills outside of combat. We kind of get two features baked into one feature with Path of the World Tree. We have Vitality of the Tree, which is going to just, when we start our Rage, we get temporary HP equal to our Barbarian level. Temporary HP for a Barbarian is really often better than anybody else because we have Rage damage reduction on top of it. So it just goes further. 10 temporary HP kind of feels like 20 for most combats. We also get Life-Giving Force, which at the beginning of our turn, any ally within 10 feet of us, we can gift an amount of temporary HP equal to our Rage damage bonus in D6s. So until we hit level 9, that's going to be 2d6. Now this makes us a really great off tank. And that's something that it's like, yeah, this is a good tank, but if there's somebody else with Sentinel who is standing there taking hits, we can deliver them this temp HP over and over again, and then we can kind of play more defensive, get our hits in where we can, but this would actually be an argument for going more of a Halberd's playstyle if you have a main tank to support. But that being said, we can totally be a main tank. We can just also really be an off tank if the opportunity arrives. Level 4, we get a weapon mastery. I don't really care too much, but I went with Trident for some anti-air. Way more importantly is we get the Great Weapon Master feat. The Great Weapon Master feat has so many synergies with this build. The first is that every single attack we do, including our Cleave attack, gets a bonus to its damage equal to our proficiency bonus. On top of that, when we crit someone, we get to make a bonus action attack. And that includes our Cleave attack. So now we're making 3 attacks instead of the normal 2, both at advantage. Additionally, as our whole playstyle revolves around having 2 people within range of our attacks, so that when we kill someone, we're more likely to have someone we can use the Great Weapon Master attack on. So many synergies, it works so well together, it is a must-take feat for this build. Level 5, we get extra attack, which means our Cleave playstyle is far more online now than ever. And we also get fast movement, which is mainly about closing the distance, but extra movement speed's solid. Level 6 is a huge level for us. We get Branches of the Tree. As a reaction, we can teleport somebody next to us. So our allies, we can pull them out of sticky situations. We can just help them with mobility if they need to get across the map. But this uses a reaction, and opportunity attacks on a Cleave build are super good, like insanely good. So this needs to be a really incredible feature to be able to compete with those, and luckily it is, because we can also target our enemies using our strength to set the DC, and we pull them close to us and they lose all movement speed. Okay, so if there's somebody next to you already who maybe you hit last turn and then they hit you back, it's probably gonna happen all the time. Now you can pull someone right next to them and they can't move, and so you're guaranteed to go next where you already have a cleave set up. So it also helps us set up our cleave style. And I think that the balance between incredible opportunity attacks and this amazing reaction feature is going to be a big piece of the skill of this build. We have amazing reactions, and using the right ones at the right time is gonna separate an average player from a great player with this build, and I love that. Level 7, we get advantage on our initiative checks. It's always nice to go earlier. And we also get instinctive pounce when we turn on our rage. We get some extra movement speed so we can close the distance even faster. And we're gonna get even better at that. The World Tree Barbarian gets really mobile. Level 8, this has to be a strength bump. Strength is going to be our accuracy, it's going to be our damage, but it's also our save DC for Path of the Tree. So bringing them close to us is all about our strength. We have to have it maxed out. Level 9, we get our rage bonus goes up to 3, so now our temporary HP distribution goes up to 3d6, nice. More importantly, we're getting Brutal Strike. Now, Brutal Strike, there's gonna be two main use cases. The way we want to be using it is with our Cleave attack. Why? When you use Brutal Strike, you lose the advantage of Reckless Attack, so you're more likely to miss. Now, there's more upside because if you do hit, you deal more damage, but there's more downside that you're more likely to miss. So the upside is the exact same whether it's a Cleave attack or a normal attack. We do the bonus damage and an extra effect. But the downside is lower on a Cleave attack because we don't add our ability modifier to the damage. So if we miss, it hurts us less than if we missed one of our primary attacks. That's why we always want it to be our Cleave attack. Now the exception to this is if we don't have a Cleave set up. This is where we can use Forceful Blow to push people further. So let's pretend that we're trying to use our Warhammer to push someone, but it's not gonna push them far enough. Well, now we can combo as Forceful Blow to launch them in between 15 and 25 feet to hopefully get next to an enemy, and then we can pull out our Great Axe and go and get our Cleave from there. Now, when we're just doing our Cleave attack to get the damage, we'll probably just end up using Hamstring Blow. It just slows down their movement speed. Not really a huge deal, but it's better than nothing and keeps them closer to us, and we probably don't want to push them away to keep them in the Cleave area. So that's why we do it that way. Level 10, we get another weapon mastery. Again, I don't really care here, but Javelin is an idea to chase down fleeing enemies. Although I don't think we'll have a problem with that, but it does slow them down. Way more important, we get Battering Roots, and this really brings our Cleave playstyle together. One is on our turn, our reach extends 10 feet. So now our Great Axe has a 15-foot range, making Cleaves and Great Weapon Master attacks so much easier than before, but when it's not our turn, it's back to being 5 feet, so our opportunity attack setups are still as good as ever. I love that. Perhaps more importantly is we can now add Push and or Topple instead of Cleave to each of our attacks. So just put the Warhammer away, we're a Great Axe aficionados now. And this is really amazing because we can time this together. So we can hit someone, push them 10 feet, then because our reach is 15 feet, we can activate Cleave because now they're within 5 feet of an ally and within reach of our attack. So we can, in one hit, push someone into place and get the Cleave off at the same time. And after you get the Cleave, you might not want to do it again, so now you can do Topple plus Push to just knock someone away or create some distance, or you can just do Topple. Between Cleave, Push, and Topple, there's so much flexibility in how you can control the battlefield. I think this is a very powerful feature. Level 11, we get Relentless Rage. This is a great tanking feature when we're about to die. We don't, we get a bunch of HP back. Whew, very good. Level 12, I'm gonna do a con bump. Bumping your HP and AC at the same time is just too good to pass up, so that's what I'm gonna be doing for the rest of this guy's career. Level 13, we get Improved Brutal Strike. We get Staggering Blow, which is like it supports our casters on our side. It makes them have a disadvantage on a save, and they can't use reactions to, say, counterspell. Or we can do Sundering Blow, and this kind of sets up the next attack to have +5 to hit. So it's really great for marshals, especially someone like a rogue who really wants to hit one attack. Or someone with Vex who really wants to get that first hit so they can chain a bunch of advantages together. These two are going to just replace the Hamstring Blow for the most part. You know, use your head, sometimes it might come into play, but more often than not, you still want to be using your Cleave attack for your Brutal Strike, and you want to be using one of these, depending on your team's composition. Level 14 might be our most insane feature from the World Tree Barbarian, as it should be. This is going to let us do a 60-foot teleport as a bonus action, including the bonus action where we rage. But more importantly, once per rage, we can take a whole bunch of people within 10 feet of us and do a 150-foot teleport. This is going to allow us to engage with the whole team all at once really aggressively. It can help us ambush. It can help us retreat, that maybe things are going terribly, we gather all together and we get the hell out of Dodge. But also out of combat. This is incredible. For a rage, we can do basically a full 150-foot infiltration all at once. Overall, this feature stands out to me as it's going to create amazing campaign moments. Those moments that you talk about and tell stories about, this feature really enables that. Love it. 15, we get persistent rage, which means we have more rages and they're easier to maintain. 16, pick up whatever constitution feat you want here. I went with durable for the advantage on death saves, but speedy is another idea, whatever you want. Level 17, we get improved brutal strike, which is just more damage on our brutal strike, so more damage on our cleave attack. Level 18, we get indomitable might. This just means strength checks are no longer a thing. You succeeded, good job. Level 19, I went with the boon of recovery. I just like the idea of like strumming music and these roots attached to your leg and frickin' heal it, and I don't know, I just think it's really cool. That's a flavor note I haven't mentioned is as you're doing things like to engage with rage, you strum a note and boom, all of a sudden you're in this new mode of more energy and vitality. And just the boon of recovery is really, really cracked, and it makes us insanely tanky because they have to kill us like 3 times before we actually die, which is insane. And then because we have durable, we have advantage on those death saves if we finally get there, which I don't think will happen often. Yeah, crazy. And then we end with Primal Champion, which is going to give us a +2 to our strength as well as our constitution, increasing our AC, our health, but also making our damage super consistent and high, along with the save for Path of the Tree to just lock them in place next to us. That's going to be a very, very high save. And that's the build. I'm mostly excited to play this for the game mechanics, but I really do like the kind of rocker chick flavor that's baked into it. If you're still here, then you're our people. Click the link in the description down below and find the community that was built for you. We'd be happy to have you. And while you're down there, make sure to hit the like button and to leave a comment of what you want the next subclass for my deep builds to be. And whoever's the highest commented is the one I'll do. Simple as that. All right, my friends, hope you have yourselves an incredible week, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.